Hi guys, and welcome to this week's Tribe Sunday morning Josh's vlog video. As always, I would encourage you just to take a moment to pause the video or wait till the end of the video and just spend some time in worship and reflection. There is still a playlist up on our YouTube, but obviously feel free to use your own songs as well. It's totally up to you, but I really do encourage you just to take that moment in worship and reflection. And then we'll get into today's topic. In today's topic, we're going to talk a little bit about communication. I love technology. I love seeing all the new tech that comes out and all like the scientific advances that we have. I love our sort of exploration into space, and I just love seeing how, as a race, that we are advancing ourselves through technology and science and communication. I love following all of that. And I think especially in lockdown, those people who wouldn't normally use technology are now using technology as the basis of communication and the basis of meeting with people. Like, having technology and being connected online has become more important than ever during this lockdown period. The fact that I can stay in touch with my friends online and stay connected with my family by seeing them on an online video call is incredible, and that's been an amazing thing. And I think, generally we're all so thankful for that and to be able to have that kind of technology. However, obviously there are some downsides to technology, and I think one of the downsides is miscommunication. Because, for example, on my family Zoom calls, there's a lot of people there, and there's a lot of people talking, and there's a lot of people asking questions. So sometimes you can be quiet for a little bit, and my resting Zoom face looks quite grumpy, especially because I can get distracted by things off camera quite easily, and I sort of focus on something and I just look really grumpy. And I get messages and people saying, "Oh, smile," or "Everything all right, cheer up." And there's nothing wrong. It's just that that's my face on Zoom. And that's something that my family have learned after doing a couple of Zoom calls, that when Josh isn't talking, he looks grumpy, but actually he's not grumpy. And I think if you go back as well to before kind of video calls, you had like WhatsApp, you had text, and that was always really difficult to judge, especially if you're being sarcastic in a text. You're never quite sure how the other person's going to take it, and like which emojis to use, and you always send a text and then they misinterpret it, and they either think you're being angry when you're actually being happy, or they think you're being happy when you're actually being angry, and that can be really difficult. Communication is a really difficult thing, and it's the same in our faith and in our communication with God when we're talking and listening to God. Just like my family had to learn that the way I communicate on Zoom is actually slightly different to the way I communicate in face-to-face, in real life, in person. We have to learn how God communicates with us, and if we spend a long time not talking to God, if we just come back a year later, we may not hear him because maybe we've forgotten how God talks to us. So how do we put ourselves in the best position we can to be able to speak and listen and hear God? Youth for Christ has something on their resources called the Spiritual Life MOT. Now, if you don't know, an MOT is just something you have in your car to make sure that everything is working. And so Youth for Christ have this thing called a Spiritual Life MOT, which is a series of questions that you can ask yourself to make sure that you're doing the best things you can, doing the most you can for your spiritual life. And in turn, these will help you hear from God. So a bit of a kind of an activity for this to finish today. Get a bit of paper, pause the video because you'll need to listen to the questions in a minute. Get a bit of paper, and you can draw a car, you can draw a person on it, or you can just leave it blank for now. Then I'm going to read out the 7 questions, and I just want you to answer all 7 on this bit of paper, or on your phone, or somewhere where you can read it again in the future. And that's something that you can use to kind of think about, how do I put myself in the best position to be able to hear from God? So those questions are: number 1, a car runs on fuel. What is your life running on right now? Number 2, where can I see God at work in my life right now? Number 3, what am I learning about God at the moment? Number 4, are there any areas where I am distracted or finding it hard to hear God? Number 5, where are the places I meet with God? Number 6, when did I last hear from God? And then number 7 is, what are the things I give the most time and attention to? So write the answers down to those questions. You might need to go back on the video to kind of remind yourself of those questions. But then answer them and write them down somewhere. And then you'll be able to build a picture of the best things that you can do to speak and listen and to hear from God. So yeah, that's my kind of activity for you this week. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you again next week.